rookie draft season is approaching in Dynasty especially, so it's time to give you our plan. Our plan, we have multiple people that are very, very good at this. Very, very good on our team, and they're going to be doing a lot of research on these rookies. We have good analysts, former college football players, Brian Bredd, our guy.
Bredd, yeah.
So we've got tons of good guys to help us research this year. And so what we're going to do is we're going to bring you the best rookie content of any Dynasty channel. Obviously, you're going to have the Devy nerds, and you're going to have college football gurus that are going to probably get a lot more in depth. Our goal is to be the best Dynasty channel for rookie content. So if you want that content, make sure you're subscribed. And big news coming for the Flock website in terms of rookie content. So stay tuned for that as well. But again, this is the place to be for rookie content. Today we're going to do a super duper. And we say super duper because it is super duper early.
Super
duper duper early rookie mock draft.
And
this is for 2024, obviously. We are going to ask you not to hold us to this. We did a cornerstone video with rookies. We already got crap because we had, Malik Neighbors behind Egbuka. Look, I mean, I have not watched film on these guys yet outside of what I watch on Saturdays.
In-depth film.
We haven't watched in-depth film.
We have watched these
Our
players.
Analysis is just now getting... We plan to have our preliminary analysis done by December 1st to bring you actual in-depth rookie content about each of these players. Right now, this is early. We're doing this for fun. For fun only.
Fun.
Do not hold us to these rankings, please. This is a fun video.
If you crap on us in the comments, I'm not responsible.
Yeah, it's just for fun right now. So let's talk about this class. Very talented class.
Yeah. You've got number one pick, buddy.
I think everybody knows who's going first. Caleb Williams is the first pick.
Oh, you're wrong.
I don't think anybody's going to change their mind. Here's the interesting thing right now. This is interesting timing for recording this video. Caleb Williams actually...
The gap is not far between him and Drake May.
In fact, I saw a mock draft where he did not go number one.
Yeah.
I'm not sure who did, but I mean, he's getting a little bit of hate right now. He was the highest... The first 4 weeks, it was, he's the Heisman. And now it's like, Caleb Williams sucks. That's what I've heard. So this is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Our prediction, at least right now, is that Caleb Williams will be the number one overall pick. He's still a very, very, very good prospect. And in Superflex leagues, again, this is Dynasty Superflex rookie mock, he's going to be the 101 this year. I think it's pretty safe.
Yeah, and I'm gonna veer away from probably what's expected just because of recent news and how I really don't think the gap between the top two QBs is as large as people originally made it sound. I am going to go Drake May here from North Carolina. And goodness, when you watch Drake May and what he's been doing, obviously North Carolina kind of, I guess, not at the level that we hoped they could be. I mean, maybe consistently top 8 and whatnot, but he so far has had 2,500 passing yards on a 66% completion percentage, 260 rushing yards. The rushing yards with Drake May is really what we want to look at here because he had, remember, statistically in college, rushing yards include the negative sack yardage. So 700 rushing yards in college for Drake May is absolutely unbelievable. As a sophomore, as a junior, 8 games in, he's had 260 rushing yards, 9 yards per attempt. So that's gone up compared to 21 in 2022. There is very little to dislike about Drake May. And honestly, I think his upside is very, very high going into the NFL when you're talking about his passing capability. He has a great arm and his ability to be mobile, and not just his rushing upside, but just eluding pressure and being able to remain poised despite that pressure as well.
I'm going to take the receiver that is surely going to be drafted by the Indianapolis Colts here.
Yes.
The best receiver in college football.
Yes.
The best wide receiver prospect since I don't even know who. Marvin Harrison Jr. I grew up a huge fan of his dad.
Yeah.
I mean, he was my favorite player. It was my first football jersey. He was on my favorite team's Super Bowl roster. Marvin Harrison was my favorite football player. Now his son is in the league. That makes me feel old, not going to lie. Marvin Harrison Jr. is the best wide receiver prospect in this draft by a country mile. He has 889 yards and 8 touchdowns in 8 games this year. 8 of them.
Yeah.
Playing with a quarterback that was not C.J. Stroud, which is significant because they made the quarterback change, but also they didn't necessarily look that good. I mean, they played IU. I would know. They played IU the first game of the year, and they only won by 20. That's sad. You should beat IU by 100. Go Hoosiers.
Go Hoosiers.
But here's the thing. Marvin Harrison Jr. is generational, and we don't use the term generational lightly. He's a generational wide receiver prospect. It's going to translate. He's going to be probably a top 5 pick in the NFL draft.
Yeah.
And if and when that happens, he is the clear 2 or 3 overall pick in Dynasty rookie drafts. He's historic. He's the son of my favorite player. I can't not take him. I'm really excited for Marvin Harrison Jr. I am really excited to see where he goes, and I hope it is to that team with the horseshoe right there.
Yeah, to stay consistent with our top 24 cornerstone rankings, and the fact that I think, hey, you know, we could be right here, we could be wrong. Give us a little bit of grace here, man, because we, again, not a lot of people have done prospect analysis yet. This is early. I'm still going to go with Akiem Egbuka, and yeah, from a production perspective, has he been disappointing this year? He's only played 5 games. Sure, I guess you could say that. 22 receptions on 32 targets, 300 receiving yards. He has still dang near a 70% catch rate, just like he did in 2022. When you look at what he did as a sophomore, though, over 100 targets for 1,150 receiving yards, 10 touchdowns, a target share an opportunity share of 26%, and again, a catch rate of 70%. I think you're looking at this situation in the fact that he's playing alongside Marvin Harrison Jr. From a quarterback perspective in Ohio State, that's gone way down. I mean, they don't have C.J. Stroud throwing them the ball. I think ultimately you're looking at this and you're like, well, let's check out the history of Ohio State wide receivers in the last 3 years. Huh. Were there a lot of people that were down on Chris Olave going into the draft?
There sure were.
Yeah, there sure were a lot of people very down on Chris Olave. Why was it? Because he was a senior. He wasn't an early declare. He had 4 years in college, and his production wasn't as good as Garrett Wilson's or Jackson Smith and Jigba's that year. I think you're going to have a lot of similar critics of Akiem Egbuka this season, looking at the fact that his production goes down and all this stuff. And I'll tell you this. We don't generally helmet scout, but Ohio State does have something going.
Ohio State
with
wide
the
receivers and Iowa tight ends, baby.
And Iowa tight ends. So that's 1 point to be made. Also, the fact that he massively broke out as a sophomore really speaks volume to, I think, his skill set and his ability in the NFL. I'm not going to short him for likely a less productive junior year in college, where there's just a lot of moving pieces as an organization for Ohio State this season anyways.
I think there are 2 candidates that can be taken here. I think, honestly, this guy was a candidate to be taken there as well. But if anybody were to be like, timeout, Marvin Harrison Jr. is not the best receiver in college football, the name that they would probably throw out is going to be Malik Neighbors. And I'm going to take him here because you thought Marvin Harrison's stats were impressive. Statistically, Neighbors has outperformed him. 980 yards and 9 touchdowns in 8 games, including a game with 239 receiving yards against Mississippi State.
Yeah,
239 in a game. Guys, Malik Neighbors is surely going to be a first-round wide receiver. We think Egbuka will too. We do. So probably for now, they're going to be in the A tier, right behind Marvin Harrison Jr. in his own tier. But Malik Neighbors is very good. And honestly, who I think you'll take next is Brock Bowers. And Brock Bowers, if he does get that top 10 draft capital that we think he will, he could honestly be taken here in tight end premium leagues. But I like the security and value insulation of the wide receiver position and the price that Jordan Addison has shown out in his first 8 games, and he's the wide receiver like 13 right now.
Yeah, and I won't get cute. I will take Brock Bowers here at 6. Brock Bowers, everyone's eyes have been on Brock Bowers really since he was a freshman. Broke out as a true freshman in 2021. 15 games, 56 receptions on 81 targets, 882 receiving yards, a target share, again, as a tight end, a target share of 20% and a 69% catch rate, which is really nice. 13 receiving touchdowns. His receiving usage goes up in 2022. He obviously suffers the, I believe, season-ending injury this year.
Yes,
are we worried about that? No, because
it's Brock
at
Bowers.
This point, it's Brock Bowers. He's proven what he is as a talent. And honestly, if anything, I'd rather him get injured now than later in the season and us be worried about that going into him getting ready to test for the combine. I think this is really could be a blessing in disguise for him as a prospect going into the NFL. There's not a lot of questions with him, man, but before he went down this year, his catch rate was 77%.
I love that.
Yeah.
All right. At number 7, I'm going to take Trayon Henderson. Note, we are at pick 7, and this is the first running back.
Give
off
me
the
my
board.
guy.
This is the first running. I know you're going to take here. I feel like this is pretty good value, getting the best running back in this draft class. Not to mention a PPR back. I'm a sucker for PPR backs like this. You're talking about Trayon Henderson here. And again, I do think that this running back class as a whole
not very strong.
It's fairly underwhelming.
Yeah.
I'd be the first to tell you that because last year, obviously, you had both Bijan Robinson and Jahmyr Gibbs get top 12 draft capital. You are not going to see that. You're not going to probably see one guy get that. Trayon Henderson just turned 21 years old.
Are you worried about the injury over the last couple of years? The injury struggles? Because, I mean, the production speaks for itself as a freshman.
I'm not worried about it. I'm not worried about it. But
I'm definitely worried.
But again, what I like to look at with Trayon Henderson, and I think he was used correctly the most his freshman year when he played in 13 games when he was healthy. He had 1,200 rushing yards, but he also had 312 receiving yards on 27 receptions and 19 total touchdowns.
Yeah.
There's a lot of upside there. I think in this running back market, he's going to go to a team that will use him like that. There aren't a ton. Obviously the injuries are the main concern, but he's 5'10", 215. The size is not a concern there. BMI is not a concern. It's really going to be whether he can stay healthy or not. So it'll be interesting to see. He hasn't stayed healthy again really since his freshman season. So I maybe would have taken this guy, but I'll let you take him, and I'll take the first running back here.
I really like this guy. I'm taking Romo Odunsi from Washington. And he is the reason I didn't take him higher because I was tempted to, just to be, a little edgy. I didn't because he is going to be declaring after 4 years of being in college and really, truly breaking out and dominating once he got to his junior year last year in 2022 with Michael Penix. And regardless, though, he's 6'3", 200 pounds. At least that's where he's listed at now. So I know a lot of people are questioning that skill set and that size with wide receiver prospects in the NFL at the moment because you have to run a certain 40 time. I think you got to run like a sub 4.5 technically for you to be able to statistically be a successful
to not be
wide
an outlier
receiver
at that point.
At that skill set, to not be an outlier. He's already listed, I think he had a high school 40-yard dash of a 4.5, so I'm not really concerned about his 40-yard dash. What I care about is, my goodness, his contested catchability and what he can do down the field is absolutely unbelievable. And yes, he's playing with Michael Penix, one of the best college quarterbacks right now in the country. But Odunsi is part of the reason why Penix is doing so well. And he is such a reliable target, such a reliable option. He has a catch rate this year of 91%. Okay, and this is not a slot receiver. This is a guy who off 51 receptions has 900 receiving yards, 17.8 yards per reception, and a target share of 18%. This is a guy playing alongside, I believe, a junior who's also going to declare this year. I forget his name, but he's also a very talented receiver. There's a lot of talent in Washington, and Odunsi has transcended that talent and really been able to be at the top there. So I'm a big fan of him.
Okay, this is where it gets a little bit tough here. I don't think there's a really obvious pick here. Do you?
There's a couple guys that I would take that I prefer. It's not clear cut and dry, no.
I'm going to be risky here.
Okay.
Do I want to do this? I can't decide. Okay. With what you just said and with what Ryan said, I'm not going to take this guy. I'm going to take J.J. McCarthy here and be safe. It's a super flex league, so I do think J.J. McCarthy is a very good quarterback talent in a pretty good quarterback class. I also like Michael Penix, spoiler alert, but J.J. McCarthy, I feel like is going to be a little bit of a safer prospect than Michael Penix will be. So I'll take him here without a clear-cut pick at wide receiver. There are multiple guys I like at receiver. There's not really anybody here I'd want to take at running back. It's really quarterback. And so I'll just take the best quarterback available according to Ryan Bread, and that's J.J. McCarthy. J.J. McCarthy obviously having a very good year this year, and Michigan having a very good year other than them, stealing signs and cheating and, stuff like that. Outside of that, though, it's been great. I'm sure we have Michigan fans that watch, so we'll get some crap for that. But outside of that, J.J. McCarthy's looked fairly good this year. He has 1,800 yards so far, 18 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. He's first in QBR in the NCAA, 94 QBR. All this goes to say, I think he's one of the best quarterbacks in Division I right now. I think he's one of the best quarterbacks in this draft, but he's going to be severely shorted compared to Drake May and Caleb Williams here. Maybe that gap's not as big as we think. I'm not exactly sure. I watch a lot of Big Ten football. He looks good now. Will it translate? I'm not sure. I think it will. He's got the size. He's got the performance in college. Playing in a good program. Playing Big Ten. I think it's safe. I'll take McCarthy.
There are multiple guys here that I'm struggling with,
I know.
just like you. But I'm going to go with Xavier Worthy.
Yeah, that's
and we are approaching an age in the NFL where I think wide receivers are the star of the show outside of the quarterback position, and they are really a key part in the success of these NFL teams. Xavier Worthy, I think, is going to be really attractive to a lot of NFL teams. He's 5'11", 160, at least listed at that right now. He apparently ran a 4.29. I believe that was a high school 40 time.
Self-recorded.
But
as a true
freshman,
mistake, he's blazing fast.
He's blazing fast. A lot of people are going to say, "Oh, he's kind of just a deep threat. Oh, he doesn't command a ton of targets, or he won't in the NFL." This year in 2023, he's got a 96% catch rate, 46 targets, 44 yards. As a true freshman, he put up 981 receiving yards with a 30% target share. Obviously, you take every production metric with a grain of salt in college football, but this is, and especially in Big 12 football, when you're looking at Texas, because Big 12 football is just chucking it downfield all the time. I think regardless, with Xavier Worthy's speed, with his ability to command targets on a consistent basis and consistently bring in those targets and capitalize on those opportunities, I think you got to be really excited with the promise of Xavier Worthy in the NFL.
All right, that gives me my last pick here. I'm going to go who I was thinking about. My last pick.
Not mine.
That's what I said. I'm thinking about going with, and I'm going to go with Keon Coleman here.
Okay, yeah.
So Keon Coleman was the guy I was thinking about last time. I'm just not sure. Part of it, I don't know. He is crazy talented, athletic. But he's also big. You know who he reminds me a lot of from a prospect standpoint is George Pickens. And it kind of scares me. So that's kind of why I was like, maybe I don't want to take him.
Yeah.
I'm going to trust that he's going to get, right now, if I had to guess, early second round draft capital. If people see the upside, he obviously has the potential and the ceiling to jump into the first round. But I'm going to bet on the athleticism and the upside. Obviously, he's a big guy. Our guy Ryan Brett has done a lot of research on that, and it's kind of a long shot for those guys to hit a lot of times. Very talented. I'll go Keon Coleman just because we're getting to the point right now to where it's a little bit fuzzier for me.
This may be a little bit off the beaten path, this pick here, but I'm going to go with Will Shipley from Clemson. And I almost took him at 10, actually. When you look at his production as a running back at Clemson, it's nothing super amazing, nothing super flashy. 210 rushing attempts his sophomore year, over 1,000 rushing yards, which is good. 15 total touchdowns. And then this year, through 8 games, only just over 100 rushing attempts for 500 rushing yards, so about 5 yards per carry on average, which is fine in college. You got to take into account the fact that Clemson has not looked very good compared to what we usually expect from that program. I care about the receiving upside, and with the amount of question marks that you have with the running back position as a whole in the NFL, the ones with receiving upside are the safest. They are the least volatile when they're getting consistent volume. And I think Will Shipley could be that in the NFL. He could be a very, very pivotal piece for a team that needs this type of guy, this type of gadget sort of running back that can come out and line up in the slot and be a dump-off option for these quarterbacks that are under pressure. His target share as a sophomore was 9.6% as a running back. That is the type of target share and opportunity that you're looking for in elite receiving backs in the NFL that can translate to the NFL. So Will Shipley, if he's faded because of his lack of production as a runner, I would consider him a sleeper in this year's class.
I just want to note here, if there was another pick, I'm taking Michael Penix.
Over Ewers?
Yes,
because I almost took Ewers, but I don't have a good feeling about Ewers.
No, don't take Ewers. Take Michael Penix.
I took Will Shipley.
No, I know, but why would you take him over Ewers? That's our guy, Nathan.
Because Michael Penix has been in college for 6 years.
So what?
We have to maintain some sort of credibility here. Ewers probably will. Do you think Ewers will be consistently ranked over Penix during the preseason? I think he should be.
Ryan has Penix ahead, and I agree with him.
Bo Nix?
No. Penix.
Well, Bo Nix ahead of Ewers
I know
too,
what you're saying. No, I'm taking Penix over him. I'm taking Penix over Nix and Ewers.
Hey, I love Michael Penix. So I hope
he's my 13th pick.
I hope once we do more in-depth prospect analysis, I get to that point. But I almost took yours there.
We did this for what, Nathan? What did we do it for? For fun.
For fun.
Oh,
Fun.
So don't hold us to this. And again, just let us have some fun. Hope you enjoy the content.
Yeah.
Make sure you drop a like on this video. If you play Dynasty and you have rookie draft picks, subscribe because we're going to bring you all the information you could possibly need about every single one of those picks that you could be making. By the time you get to the draft, you're going to know exactly who you should take, and we're going to make sure. So subscribe, flockfantasy.com/domain. If you want one of these team blueprints, these team blueprints give you a multi-year plan for your dynasty team. We grade out your position groups. We give you depth scores. We give you trade targets. We give you trade away targets. We give you a 3-year outlook on how your build should look. And it's all in the blueprint. Flockfantasy.com/domain. Use code domain, and you choose another Flocker tier. You get one of these. So like I said, do those two things. Get you a blueprint. You get on our Discord. You can chat with us all week. It's real fun. And you get all of our Dynasty rankings, all of the Dynasty articles, and exclusive videos we release. It's a lot of fun. So flockfantasy.com/domain. Appreciate you guys. Thanks for joining us today, and we'll see you later.